guys, I hope you're having a good day, and if you're not, go work out.
Come on.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it. Screams from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess.
Today it was legs. I'm going to leave all the exercises and the workout routine in the description. We started off with some leg extensions. Now this is working the quadricep in its most shortened position. Now we're working the quads first, and before we go into some heavy lifting, we're just going to use the leg extension exercise to get some blood into the muscle and activate it to let it know it's going to be worked. Now we're doing that by holding the movement in the isometric for 5 seconds each rep. We're really focusing on connecting with the quadricep and letting it know it's about to be worked. I'm focusing on pushing my hips back into the pad and activating at the quad before I move the weight. Now we're moving on to the leg press. Now there isn't a proper leg press machine at my gym, so I'm just using the Smith machine to improvise. If you do have a leg press machine at your gym, I recommend using that, as it'll be a lot better. I recommend putting your feet in a comfortable position at the top of the board, and we're going for 21 reps here in order to get a lot more blood into the muscle before we go into some squats. Again, I'm focusing on keeping my hips down against the floor. This is going to make the exercise more difficult and engage your quads, because if my hips come forward, it lengthens the quad and makes the exercise a lot easier. Now we're moving into some squats. We're not lifting a lot of weight today as we're focusing on blood volume. The heavy weights in order to tear down the muscle will be later on in the week. We're really focusing on cell swelling in order to expand the muscle by getting a lot of blood into it. I recommend having your toes pointing outwards slightly and using plates underneath your heels. This is because most people have a problem with dorsiflexion, which is flexing your toes upwards towards your shin. Now what the plates do underneath is make you more flexible. This is just a warm-up set, so I'm not going as deep as I would like to. I like to do dynamic stretching in order to get used to the exercise. If you're ever doing stretching before a workout and you're not warm yet, never do static stretching, always do dynamic, because you might cause muscle damage. We were working the quads and the glutes while squatting, so now we're going to isolate the quadriceps. Again, I'm focusing on keeping my abs tight, and I'm trying to push the weight through my toes. This is going to activate the quads. I'm going nice and slowly on the way down, and when I get to the bottom, I'm exploding up. This is to activate the fast twitch muscle fibers that are going to grow. Again, I'm focusing on keeping my hips and lower back against the pad and not moving at all. It helps to keep your core tight in doing this. I'm going as low as I can until I feel a stretch. I'd recommend doing the same for you. It might be a bit different depending on your flexibility. And then I'm focusing on pushing up through my toes in order to isolate the quads. Now we're moving on to some leg curls. We've done the quads, now we're going to concentrate on hamstrings, as that's also an important part of the legs. Now when the hamstring is completely shortened, you should feel a stretch on your quad. That's like we discussed last week when we talked about the back and the chest. The quads and the hamstring are both antagonist muscles. So what I'm focusing on here is when I get to the top of the movement, I actually tense my quads in order to know that my hamstrings are fully stretched. That way I know that my hamstrings are being worked from a stretched position all the way to a shortened position, and I'm getting that full range of motion. Because the easiest thing to do is half reps, because your muscle is strongest in the mid-range of the motion. So if I can't do a certain weight in a stretched position or shortened position, I know it's too heavy. We're going for 21 reps here in order to get loads of blood into the hamstring. Now the hamstring performs two functions, which are the flexion of the knee and the extension of the hip. Therefore, in order to activate it, not only do you have to bring your heel towards your bum, but you have to tense your glutes, which are the muscles in your bum. So, in order to fully activate your hamstring, what I do is hold my glutes in an isometric contraction because the glutes are responsible for movement of the hip. Now what that does is that keeps the hip in an extended position, therefore I know that my hamstrings are going to activate a lot more than they would if my hip was flexed.
What you know about a chick? What you got up in your pocket? What you spending when you shopping, dog?